You will never feel ready to approach women. I know this is true because I've worked with over 200 career-driven, dateable men at this point in my career. Yeah, guys who knew logically that they were dateable, in shape, got money, dressed well. But what I've found to be true with every single guy who I've worked with is they still do not feel ready to approach women because everything is easier than doing approaches. You might be a guy right now and you're convincing yourself that you need more time, you need more money, you need to be in better shape, you need to dress better, you need a more extravagant lifestyle. And what I found to be true is all these things are smoke screens for uncertainty. When a guy says to me, Christian, I want to start approaching, but I don't feel ready yet, all of this translates into I'm scared, yeah? I'm scared of not receiving love from the feminine. I'm scared that my best right now still won't be enough, right? I've worked with guys who were insecure about their height, about their race, about the money that they were making. I've worked with guys who felt as though they were too short, guys who felt as though they weren't rich enough, they weren't ripped enough, they didn't have interesting enough lifestyle. And what I found to be true is in my own journey as well, nobody really wants to do those first approaches, right? Even if you've been doing this for a long time, those approaches, the first approaches you do of the day, they always feel weird, right? Even for me, I've been doing this for 6 years now. I've coached over 200 guys. I've got the best client results in this industry. Guys fly from every corner of the globe just to spend time with me. Even for me, I'm not always in the mood. When I go out there and either I'm filming content or I'm doing approaches solo, my mind is telling me, oh, you're not ready yet. Maybe you need another coffee. Maybe you need to change location. Maybe everybody's watching. Oh, I think she might be a man, right? And there's always going to be reasons not to approach. But I remember when I first started Daytime Approach in 2020, I had every reason under the sun not to start, right? I looked like a turnip. I dressed like a moron. I had erectile dysfunction. I was a low-life loser. I was working a dead-end job for minimum wage. I had an air purifier that I was using as a tripod because I couldn't afford one. I had cockroaches dancing in my apartment. I had every reason not to start approaching. And I could have told myself back then, oh, Christian, you're not ready, bro. You need to spend the next decade working on yourself, building your value. You know this whole build it and they will come horseshit, right? Because this probably is a position you're in right now. If you're a successful guy, you probably follow this societal advice, build it and they will come. Oh, just focus on yourself. And then one day, somehow, the woman of your dreams is gonna magically appear. You're gonna magically have the dating life of your dreams. This is why I say to you, you'll never feel ready to do that first approach. Yeah, I remember walking out into Leeds city centre on the 4th of July 2020 to do my very first Daytime Approach, despite the fact I didn't feel ready. My only mindset was to prioritise imperfect action, yeah? I remember walking out into the city centre, my heart was beating out of my chest, right? My palms were sweating. I didn't even feel like myself. I remember seeing this girl who I wanted to approach. She walked inside of a shopping mall. I was like, fuck, now there's gonna be more spotlight if I go inside this mall. But I just let my legs carry me, yeah? I walked over to her, I said excuse me about 3 times because my voice kept cracking. Eventually I got her attention. She looked at me like I had 2 fucking heads. I was like, oh, excuse me, I just wanted to say you look really nice. She was like, yeah, thanks, I have a boyfriend. And she waltzed off into the distance. The result of that didn't matter. What mattered to me in that moment is I proved my own bullshit wrong. Yeah, I was never gonna feel ready. Yeah, I could have delayed that inevitable action until I was 40 years old. This is what so many guys are doing today. Yeah, they're convincing themselves that they need more time, they need more money, they need to build more status. But really what they're saying is, I'm scared. Yeah, and it's easier to focus on improving yourself. It's easier to take a passive approach in dating. But the thing that I found to be true is, if you're taking a passive approach in any other area of your life, whether it's your fitness, your mindset, if you're taking a passive approach when it comes to the way you're operating your life, martial arts, you would consider yourself a pussy, right? You would just say to yourself, if you're taking a passive approach at the gym and you've not done any reps at the gym for a month, you'd tell yourself you're slacking off, you'd feel worse about yourself. When it comes to dating, guys like to take a passive role because they're terrified of having their egos being bruised, right? But this is what's happened to you right now. Every single day, you see women who you want to talk to, but you talk yourself out of it. You don't approach the women you know you're capable of getting. And the problem with this is this continues over years. And eventually what happens with guys, these self-limiting beliefs can become too difficult to break, right? And they see women every single day. They don't approach. They're taking this passive approach. They tell themselves, oh, I'll get the next one next year. Oh, well, I just need to build more value first. But that day never comes. It's like chasing the dragon. It's like chasing the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Because what do we say? Everything is easier than doing approaches. The reason you're not approaching right now, the reason you're taking a passive approach in your dating life and settling for mediocre matches on dating apps that are rigged against you, is because you're worried that your best still won't be enough, yeah? And this is a dangerous position that so many guys get into today where, let's say you get to 35 years old, you have worked on yourself, you've improved your fitness, your finances, your fashion. A problem that guys get to, I know this is true because this is the position my clients are in when they reach out to me, they're worried that what if I put myself in an approach today? And what if my best still is not enough for this woman? Yeah? What if my best is still not enough? And they don't see the approach as an opportunity. They see the approach as a threat. Yeah? And this is why they operate on these delaying mechanisms, right? But what I say to my clients, this is a very practical thing that anybody can start doing today. You'll never feel ready to be approaching, right? You'll never feel ready to do approaches, and rejection will always feel like a piece of shit. However, the exercise that I give to my clients is go out today and get rejected 3 times in a row. Because at some point, if you are going to be approaching, you're going to get rejected, and you're going to get rejected a lot, okay? I've been rejected more than anybody else that I know, and it's because I put myself out there into more conversations than anybody else that I know. I have made full peace with the perceived worst case scenario. I am at peace now with rejection. I've desensitized myself to rejection because when I'm going out there, especially for the first 3 approaches of the day, I'm going out to be rejected, to break that social ice with myself, to go through this process of ego death. And that's what I'd say to you right now. If you're somebody who puts a lot of pressure on yourself to be perfect, you want to be universally liked, you want every single woman to think good things about you, you need to go through this process of ego death. You need to recognize that not every single woman on this planet is going to find you attractive, and even your best is not going to be enough for the majority of women. And this is a crushing realization that I had to go through, right? Because growing up, I always craved universal approval. I always wanted every single woman to like me. I wanted to be wanted. I wanted people to think nice things about me. The idea of being rejected by a woman scared the living shit out of me. But now, at 29 years old, having fully desensitized myself to rejection and allowing over 200 of my clients to go through the same process, you need to fall in love with the perceived worst case scenario. And that means going outside today with the intention of being rejected. Because you're a successful guy, you like having an element of control in your life, okay? So that's why for my successful clients, I say, listen, bro, being detached from outcome doesn't make sense. For me, the mind needs an outcome to be attached to. It's almost like telling a guy who's starving to forget about food. So rather than going out there today to get a date, to get a phone number, to get a happy ending, the only outcome you need to search for is being rejected. Because what this is going to do is it's going to show you rejection is not going to ruin you. It's going to show you how much time you've wasted improving yourself when daytime approach is the most aggressive form of self-development. When you first start getting rejected, yeah, it's gonna sting. You might not like it, but it's gonna show you that it's not the end of the world, right? And also, you don't know what's going on in that woman's life anyway. Maybe she's on a period, maybe a dog just died, maybe she had a difficult conversation with a family member. When you're approaching in the daytime, it allows you to finally make peace with the thing that scares the shit out of most men. So you're never gonna feel ready to approach, right? There's always gonna be a reason not to approach. Everything is easier than doing approaches. But after watching this video, what I would suggest to you, go out into your city center, put your big boy pants on, get rejected 3 times in a row.